Because one September day, I was sent home from school. We were all sent home from school. And I was 13. I was just 13 when the war broke out. So I was only 12 when this happened. And they brought round these horrible gas masks. Have you ever tried a gas mask? No, I hope you never have to. And it made us, my family were nearly all, we weren't, but we nearly were physically sick. The smell of that rubber was dreadful. And of course we all knew, well, the war was definitely going to start. If you get given a gas mask, it doesn't take a brilliant mind to work out that this is for real. You're going to need that. Fortunately, we didn't. But that was the beginning of the war as far as I was concerned. Anyway, about August, we didn't have any air raids. There was nothing except food rationing, of course, which was pretty grim, but we had it for years. That's why we're all living to such ripe old ages, we oldies, you see. We didn't eat. In 1940, things hotted up. At my school, I went to Wallasey High School, over in that direction, isn't it? And we went to school, we practiced running down to the air raid shelters, put on honour, not to discuss an exam paper if we were in the middle of an exam. Well, of course, being nicely brought up gas. We didn't. Anyway, 1940, I'm still living in Wallasey. And then in March 41, we had a terrible, terrible time. 13th and 14th of March, 1941, they came again, as they had done in December and various other. But this meant a lot to me because my grandparents lost their home and my grandfather died, and it was all horrendous. But somehow one gets through, and we got through. We left Wallasey because we couldn't stay there any longer. It was awful. We had windows blown up. The date is engraved on my heart. April the 8th, 1941, I left my home. By this time we were living in Hoylake. I left my home at 4 o'clock in the morning, transport down to the Woodside station, and got a train down to Abergavenny. My father, who'd been in the First World War, badly knocked about, badly wounded. I've never seen him cry, but when he saw me onto the bus that was taking us down to the station, he filled up. And I remember saying, patting his hand, "Dad, don't worry, I'll treat it as an experience." Because by this time I was 13, I was going on 14. Or was I? I was 14 in 1940, so I was 14 turned. I said, "Don't worry about me, I'll be fine. I'll treat it as an experience." School. And they took us up to the dining room, the domestic science room, where we had this on, I can see it to this day, a piece of ham, baked beans and some mashed potatoes. And we were just so glad of it because we were hungry. And in those days, you didn't really take sandwiches with you because everything was rationed. So, everything had to be counted out more or less. I can't stress that enough because it went on for 15 years, this poor food business. It wasn't stopped until 1953. It was ridiculous. Went on for 14, nearly 15 years. A very nice man answered the door and took me in, and he said, "Oh, I'm giving a music lesson. I'm giving a piano lesson." Well, that was just up my street because I love music and I was learning to play the piano. I thought, "Oh, I've cracked it, coming here. How lovely." I was really pleased. And he said, "Well, you sit down, you'd like to listen." I said, "Oh, I'd love to." So I sat in the armchair. He was giving this lesson, and when he finished, he said, "Well, it's nice to meet you." He said, "I'm sorry," he said, "but my housekeeper's gone down to see her sister, and you must meet Miss Lewis." Well, he took me out and back onto that Hereford Road, marched me right down Hereford Road, which was miles, or so it seemed to me. It was miles. And then we turned up onto the Monmouth Road. We ended up at this little house, which was lit by lamps. Would it be gas? No, it wasn't gas lamp. It was paraffin lamps. And of course, even I was surprised at that because I was just switching the up electric on. Anyway, we sat there and I was so tired. It suddenly hit me and she wouldn't stop. A very lovely lady. She was his housekeeper. And in the end, she said, "Come on, Audrey, we must go." She marched me all the way back down the Monmouth Road, up the Hereford Road. Oh, I couldn't wait to get into bed. I was exhausted. Anyway, I got a shock because on the way up she said, actually, there are two Mr. Wilcoxes, and they never speak to each other. Two brothers, she said, and they never speak to each other. I said, oh, why is that? Oh, well, they haven't spoken for years. So they'll address you, they'll speak through you to each other. So I said, oh, how odd. Anyway, I thought I was prepared for it. So the next morning, and she took me up to my room, but it wasn't my room. I had to share her room. And I thought, this is odd, you're not supposed to have. Because, I'm even way back in the 40s, you were supposed to have your own room. No, she said, you've got to share a meal. You're in bed with someone's housekeeper. And I was with the Wilcoxes. Whoever sent a girl to the Wilcoxes? Well, I was quite enjoying myself. It was an experience. I said to my father I'd enjoy the experience. But what did I grow up quickly? I was such an innocent. I was 14. And in those days, everyone was just so, well, you know what I mean? I was really I didn't know anything about anything. Anyway, I soon grew up because I found out a lot. And obviously, I've got home in July 42. My sister and my mother came and collected me, and it was bliss. It was absolute bliss. And the bombing had more or less stopped. Yes, it was more or less over, up in the north. And then it was the London Blitz came in 44.